Hi, friends. Welcome to the Anime Book Club podcast. I'm your host, DJ Montague.
And I'm your host, Greg. And here we review anime from classics to brand new stuff, hidden gems, and controversial favorites.
You'll hear all of our hot takes, rants,
and genius observations. So thanks for tuning in, and buckle up because the episode starts now.
By the way, friends, these episodes contain spoilers, so be careful and don't ruin this anime for yourself. You've been warned.
I wish I liked music more because it seems like a really cool thing that people, there's like a secret club that I'm never going to be a part of.
I mean, it's not a secret club. It's just
The super secret music
sucks,
club
dude.
that I will never be a part of.
Damn. It's just fucking. It's one of the characters in Skullgirls.
Yeah.
When you do one of their supers, you can play a horn.
Yeah, the trumpet guy. Yeah, actually, Lily Barr from Bleach is in Skullgirls.
Yeah, we play the trumpet, right? But you can press certain buttons to play different tones.
Yeah.
So he literally, like, people will play Never Gonna Give You Up and shit like that. They play the beginning of TV Off. Type it in, Greg. Go listen to TV Off right
it's
now.
fine. No.
You have to know. You
Okay,
have to
fine.
know.
Oh,
The beginning is such a good intro to a song.
is it weird that I think he sounds different in this song?
Does it on purpose.
Okay, cool. Yeah, music is something that has never been insane, and I wish it was different.
So the beginning, all I ever wanted was a Black Grand National. Great opening line. If you skip to about a minute and 55 seconds into the YouTube version, you can hear the horns.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, what do you want me to say? There's horns. It's there. It exists.
horns, and then he yells mustard.
Yeah, I heard it.
Okay, so DJ Mustard, well, Mustard, as he's known now, is a producer, very famous. Produced like 98% of GNX, and he's very talented. But I'm so tired of hearing this song in particular because everybody will scream mustard at the same time, and then they all try and sea walk. It's really annoying.
Awesome.
Are you recording already?
Yeah.
Oh.
Nothing matters.
So, anyways, your intro.
It is my intro.
Hold on, I have to honk.
You're playing TV Off right now?
Yeah.
Clean slate. Let's just start over.
Yeah.
After, we'll just pretend nothing happened, and then this is the start of our new Isekai life of the Anime Book Club. I am your host. My name is Greg. Since we're live, I am actually Big Dumb Jesus, so I've already broken my 2025 New Year's resolution of not being big and dumb. And I am here with my co-host, my friend, DJ Mustard Gue, where he says his name.
I'm so mad at you right now. Anyways, hi, I'm DJ Montague. Welcome, everybody.
And
to the
today we are going to talk about Dandadan.
Mhm.
But before we talk about Dandadan, I want to tell everyone about our new affiliate from Ice-T Aesthetics. They are an anime streetwear company based in Melbourne, Australia. And they proudly print in the US, EU, and UK.
Hell yeah.
They got pretty sweet anime swag, wearable swag that I feel like isn't too crazy, that you could wear every day. Like this shirt I'm wearing right now, Chainsaw. It's not my favorite one, but I think it's pretty cool. They have a bunch of different types of shirts, regular shirts, oversized shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, all sorts of stuff, but they're pretty cool. So if you like anime and you like wearing your anime, then check out Ice-T Aesthetics. Use promo code TABC10 at checkout, TABC10 at checkout for 10% off your next order.
Nailed it.
I had their stuff before. I got an affiliate link, and they are pretty cool. I like their Chainsaw Man stuff a lot. Their Berserk
I have
stuff is
purchased
pretty
from
cool.
there before.
Oh, have you?
Uh-huh.
They have a cool message. The founder has some cool things about his company that resonate with me. If you like anime and you like wearing your anime. And since we're talking about Dandadan, I thought it was fitting because they do have a Dandadan collection.
And a hot Granny Seiko.
Yes. But today, We are talking about Dan to Dan, episodes 11 and the finale, episode 12.
Yo, that shit rips so hard.
Just be sure to go to their FAQ on how to measure your shirt size. And for me, it was pretty spot on. I just grabbed a shirt that I like, that I own already, that fits the way that I like. I took the measurements that they said, ordered the size that fit within those measurements, and I just roll around and get compliments all day about how thick my swag is.
You hopped up out the bed and then turned your swag on.
I was in the LAC and I rolled up to a large national coffee chain. The barista handed me my coffee and then commented on how cool my shirt.
That's so sick, dude.
Yeah.
Do you know what else you can get 10% off of?
Well, what?
Gamer subs.
Oh,
you can go 10% off at checkout with code DJ Montague. Gamer subs. It's delicious. And it's anime related. Anyways, friends, let's talk about some Dan to Dan today. We have so many episodes coming out for you to talk about the season finales of Dan to Dan, Demon Lord 2099, Bleach, and Ranma Half. How are you feeling about Dan to Dan?
Dan to Dan, I'm a fan. Yeah, it's great. I like Dan to Dan a lot. And it's really, in my opinion, the gem of the fall 2024 season. This is what I was looking for when I'm looking through the giant list of what is available for the season. And I'm glad that we picked this one because this one completed me.
It's quickly becoming one of my favorite shows of all time. There are 12 episodes, right? I would be really sad if season 1 ends the way it did, and we had to wait like 2 years for season 2. Because what it really feels like is just like a 6-month hiatus where they're like, okay, we finished season 1. We pretty much have season 1.5. We just needed a little more time to flesh it out. And so we wanted to give our crew all the time in the world because of how good this show is. We didn't want to rush it and do all 24 episodes right up front. I'm so stoked on Dan. And I only have to wait 6 months. I'm really fucking excited. They did a fucking amazing job with this show, front to back. Like, I couldn't be happy.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have any complaints. I will say that I guess episode 1 in the beginning was a little uncomfortable during the Serpoian scene and Momo.
Oh, this episode 12 gets right there. We're right back in uncomfortable territory.
Yes, but I think they do it tastefully, I guess, if like, for lack of a better word. Like, they do it in such a way that makes me uncomfortable, but then basically pull up at the last second before like running into the mountain. And I'm like, yeah, that was a crazy ride. And we talked about it in one of the other episodes where Dan to Dan does such a good job of navigating the flow of the story and then making you feel like they're making you feel uncomfortable on purpose. That is purposely in there, and they are portraying that uncomfortable feeling onto the audience purposely as a storytelling tool. Like Failure Frame, I wasn't uncomfortable and it was stupid how they were doing it. So like they didn't use that tool correctly to achieve the result that they were looking for. But Dan to Dan has really nailed all of these storytelling elements and making the viewers feel what they want them to feel at the time that they want them to feel it.
I love Dan to Dan so much, it's changed my structure in how I take notes on the show.
Damn.
If you look at my beginning episode summaries of Dan to Dan, they're very short, funny, and concise. By the time episode 7 hits, bullet points are like 6 or 7 paragraphs about specific things that are happening in Dan to Dan. Episode 11 in itself is a total of 4 bullet points, but all of them are like full informational scene breakdown of like how I'm feeling and what's going on. Like, they're shortened versions in my own dialogue, but I do 2 full bullet points. And then I remember I was typing and I'm sitting there and I was like, dude, what time am I? I'm at 5 minutes into the episode.
Yes.
And I was like, what the fuck, dude? I said, heartstrings constantly and expertly pulled. We are 5 minutes in. Dear Lord. Like, that's one of my notes. So anyways, high level, obviously, Greg and I love this show so much. Greg, do you want to get into the juice? You
Yeah,
wanna
I can
juice
kick
him?
us off with my 40 plus bullet points. Anyways, episode 11 starts with our boy Okaru. Gigi just walks in. He sees the chemistry between Gigi and Momo instantly. And after Gigi introduces himself, Okaru thinks that he is a stand-up guy. And he's super cool. He's athletic. He's got his pop collar. He's got his drip, as the young kids would say.
Yeah, he's slaying, as they also
yeah.
say. Also, he's got a soccer ball backpack.
Yeah.
You know he's here to fuck shit up.
Yeah, exactly. That's like literally my note. Then Gigi
Yeah.
opens his mouth and he sounds like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Seiko says that Gigi is going to be living with them starting today. But Seiko calls him a genius.
She calls him a genius because he keeps complimenting her. He's like, "Oh, auntie, you look so great." Every time he compliments her, Seiko calls him a genius.
Yes, and I think in standard Seiko fashion, there is like probably a little more to it. Because yes, it is silly that as we get into this episode and the next episode, Gigi just knows what to say to Seiko, and she rewards him for saying it. But I think there is something to it, and I have kind of a theory on why Gigi is the way he is, but we'll go over that later.
Yeah.
But Momo isn't on board with Gigi staying there, and neither is Okaru. And Ira is wondering if Momo has recruited another demon.
Yeah.
Ira is convinced Momo is gathering her forces for Ragnarok and says they're temporary allies for the alien threat. And then Ira leaves to go gather her own forces to fight Momo when Ragnarok comes.
What a banger line. She's like, "All right, I'm out. I need to go gather allies to fight you at Ragnarok."
I like Ira, but also it's like, man, I think she got a couple screws loose.
A couple, yeah.
There's maybe not a couple screws loose. There's only a couple screws that are fastening whatever it needs to fasten. Okaru decides he'll head home, and he slowly just kind of shuffles away. Momo tells him it's his turn to say, "See you tomorrow." So she does this little hand gesture. I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
Oh,
Maybe
they did that
like,
in episode 3.
Yeah, pointing at him and then having her hand up like, "Oh, it's your turn to say goodbye." But he does turn around and he says, "See you tomorrow," in a whisper, while
He's
his
reluctant.
chest in silence as he walks away from Momo's place.
Yeah.
So it's relatable. As we can see, obviously in the other episodes, Okaru likes Momo. So I'm sure he is just having the standard, his chest is tight because he likes Momo, but then sees Gigi and he's sad because he doesn't feel like he can compare.
Who can compare with Gigi?
But back inside, Gigi is chowing down. And Momo wants an explanation, and Seiko says that both of his parents have been hospitalized. Momo wants to know why he doesn't stay with another relative, and Gigi just keeps complimenting Seiko. And she just keeps giving him more and more food.
Yeah.
Gigi is just having the full gamut, full buffet that Seiko has to offer.
Yeah. Fucking awesome.
After dinner, Momo and Gigi are doing the dishes. And then Gigi actually has a serious conversation finally. And Gigi says he made fun of Momo when they were young, but he apologizes and says he regrets it because now he can see spirits too. She asks if he found a golden ball, and he's like, "Nah, I did not." But he said that him and his family moved out into the mountains, and he really likes nature, and he liked the house, but he started to feel off while in the house. He convinced himself he wasn't seeing anything because no one believed him. And then the spirit showed itself to Gigi, and now he sees it all the time. That could be traumatizing.
A little bit, when you're like sitting there and you're living in your like we see the mountain town that he lives in, and it's beautiful, gorgeous. It seems really peaceful. And for you as a kid or an adolescent moving into that, expecting some sort of peace, and then being confronted with what seems like almost like a Pernada style, like tendrils of whatever this is coming and touching your skin.
Yeah.
That seems a little horrifying. All in all.
I think this is one of the reasons why Gigi is so goofy. Because they didn't really explain it or even touch on it, actually, in either of these episodes. But I think that Gigi acts like an idiot as like some sort of coping mechanism because he's literally just watching this demon guy follow him constantly.
Yeah.
So him being a goofball is kind of his way of coping with this problem that he has.
Yeah, and I think I kind of agree with you. I think it's a coping mechanism for just like also his sleep deprivation that they talk about later on.
Yeah.
That he hasn't slept in a very long time. As a human being, you go insane if you don't sleep. It's just a thing. You need to regenerate, you need to heal, you need to rest. This kid is obviously losing his fucking slowly. Like, it's funny because he's a goofball, but also if you understand the human body a little bit more, it's very intense.
What would you do in that situation? I always thought about this because, you'll watch horror movies and someone will just be like, I got a crick in my neck. And then, it shows from the perspective of the ghost or whatever. And the ghost is literally just standing on your shoulders, like grabbing your neck or whatever. If you could see that, what would you do? Because I think initially, obviously, it would be scary. You're like, what the fuck is this? No one else can see this but me. But I always thought that at some point, I would probably try to make some sort of relationship with this ghost that apparently I'm just stuck with for the rest of my life.
Okay, I've got differing opinions on this in different circumstances. If you talk to the ghost, are you letting them have a piece of you? You know what I mean? Are you having that conversation where you're now letting them in? Or if you ignore them, do you continue to like maintain some sort of sanity? Because if you start talking to ghosts, are you just losing it? Right? I don't know. It's terrifying either way. I'm not a big fan of the dark, as we know, due to the Uzumaki episode. We've talked about this. It's not something that I think about in a fond way of like, yeah, I want to talk to ghosts. No.
Because when do you think it would become normal that when you go to sleep, you close your eyes and you're sleeping, but every time you open them, there's just like a ghost staring at you? After X amount of years, do you think that would ever just become like, oh, that's my alarm clock, I guess? Like, this is normal.
Dude, but here's my problem. If it was in different positions in the room and you'd wake up one time and it's just like right in your face and you're just like, dude, quit being a dick, bro. I'm just trying to take a nap here. Like, you don't have to be that close. And then I think of like Kimchi, my new dog, who literally does that. She just runs into the room and then gets right in your face and starts sniffing at your nose. So
yeah,
maybe that's what will happen. I don't know.
But anyway, Gigi's parents' health declined because of, I assume, the ghost. And they went to find different spirit mediums to do an exorcism. And when the spirit mediums did the exorcism, 3 of the 5 off themselves.
Yeah, they committed super slide.
Yeah. And then I don't know what the other 2 did. They were just like, nah, man, this is fucked up. And then the last recommendation for a spirit medium was Seiko. Yeah. So that's why he is at Seiko's house. Seiko said she ain't doing shit because her powers only work in the area that she's in. And since Gigi lives far away from where they are now, her powers wouldn't be effective. So she is giving Momo the job to do this exorcism and says that someone that couldn't see spirits can now see spirits. So the golden ball probably has something to do with it. And if she takes the job, Seiko will buy Momo as many uniforms as she wants. And she said to go blow down that cursed house. Gigi is now a transfer student at their school. He gets up in front of the class and he does his introduction. All the girls are swooning over him.
All men are angry too. They're like, are you fucking serious? Like,
yeah.
This is the guy we got to compete with? Did you see that intro? He blew up and then he was in slow-mo. I can't do that. And that's Gigi.
He's sitting next to Momo and Momo's other friend, who they haven't said her name yet, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, no, they have not.
Say that he's hot. And then Gigi just stands up and starts shouting that him and Momo live together and are in a parentally approved relationship. But then Muko stops him and says that Momo already has Oku.
Yeah.
So now it cuts to our boy Okarun, who is in class, and they are doing an English lesson on the word jealousy.
Mm.
Okarun is having all sorts of thoughts about Momo, still liking Gigi, and if she starts dating him, will she lose interest in Okarun? And he has all of these little scribble drawings of Momo and Gigi doing all sorts of hobbies and stuff together, and is now
Okay.
worried he'll never see Momo again.
What's so good about the scribbles is that you could see by the way that he drew everything that he added Gigi into these. Everything was Momo to start. And you could see in each different image, he's just adding Gigi into them because now he's existing. So he obviously, at some point in the last 10 episodes or the last time since meeting Momo, he's drawn these because he's fantasized about her in general, like going on bike rides and parasailing and whatnot. And then now he's like, dude, I just can't even compete with this fucking. I'll just add him in because I'm so like I can't think about anything else. It's really sad. Like that's got to be the worst. Like you have your own dreams that you're drawing, and you're like, well, gotta add this dude in there because I'm just not cool.
Well, technically, you don't have to add the dude.
No,
in
but
there,
he did. But he did, and it's sad.
But yeah, so it's lunchtime now, and Okarun is just ripping multiple sets of his exercises out in the courtyard.
Yeah.
And then Momo rolls up and sits down and is going to eat lunch with Okarun.
The
Okay.
best part.
Okay.
Literally, he's doing a squat, and then she turns the corner and she's like, Okarun. And he immediately goes completely stiff board and catapults himself into the bush because all muscles tense up immediately.
Like a scared cat. Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking died laughing. Yes, she sits down and talks to him.
She sits down and she says she's also keeping an eye on him so he doesn't do anything funny with Ira again, like make out.
Yeah.
But Momo asked him if he ate lunch yet, and he said no. She said if his hands are full working out, she will feed him. Okarun was surprised, but he didn't say no.
He's like, hell maybe. That sounds cool.
What do you think about the whole feeding thing? Like, just in general. Like, you know, if someone's do you want someone to feed you?
If someone's like, here, try some of my food, and then they like give, me food.
Well, I think that like, do you want to try some food? Like, okay. But it's like, here, you sit down and I'm going to feed you a meal.
I feel like that's pretty intense because I'm a human being and I have working hands. But if I'm tired and somebody wants to take care of me, like that's where I think of that. Obviously, he's working out. He's got weights on his arms. And she's like, I don't want you to deal with that shit, taking them all off right now. Here, I'm going to feed you. And he's like, oh, wow, that's really kind of you. Down. I'm hella in. So, I mean, yeah, it sounds cool.
Okay. So then Gigi rolls up and recognizes Okarun as the guy at Momo's place yesterday.
Like, you're that one motherfucker, right?
And Momo was like, man, Gigi, aren't you going to go eat with the others? And he's like, nah. Check this out. Pompey yogurt present for Momo. And Momo was like, oh shit, I love me some young Pompey.
Yeah.
And then that's when we see Okarun again, that he sees this chemistry between Momo and Gigi. And he gets sad and he starts to walk away. And he said he can't watch them talk like that. And he's going to separate himself from Momo because it's best for both of them. And this is the thing. Okarun, my guy, you got to have a conversation because you can't just make these assumptions and make these decisions on your own that separating yourself from Momo is best for both of you because obviously it's the worst thing for both.
Hold on. Because there's so much to this. Because like in any sort of normal interaction, you don't know. You don't know whether somebody likes you until one side says something. In the world we live in right now, putting yourself out there is such a difficult thing to do. This is a very consistent thing across like a lot of different cultures. Women in general aren't the ones to initiate discussions of like any sort of relationship. People assume the male is going to approach. And when you automatically feel like you're going to be rejected, why even do it? You know what I mean? And obviously you could see the chemistry between them. But if you were Okarun sitting in that situation and you watch this person laugh at this other person's jokes and like, oh, wow, they brought me a present, I'm going to talk to them. You just disassociate and you're like, there's no way I compete with. I see how good looking this dude is. He's funny. Like she's getting his jokes. I don't see that with me because you take yourself out of the situation.
I get it too. And I think at that age, that's completely normal. So I appreciate this part of the realism. And we talked about it last episode too, where I don't like when there's a 16-year-old kid that has the wisdom of a 40-year-old adult and is completely clairvoyant. So I do appreciate that, yes, they are acting as kids would at the age they are portrayed in the show.
I watch 25-year-olds every day.
Well,
Like, this, like, the difference between a 16-year-old and a 25-year-old to me is not a 10-year difference in my mind because of how people react to social situations and social cues.
Yes. I do want to say that conversation is a skill and conversation is difficult. You just got to challenge yourself a little bit. Just in day-to-day life, having conversations is tough, and you sometimes aren't going to sound super cool, and sometimes you're not going to make sense, and sometimes you're going to say stupid shit. But I think with conversations, it is a skill that you should be learning, and you need to learn, and you need to strengthen. Everyone should do that, just like Okaroon. But then, as Okaroon sulks away from Momo and Gigi, literally a fucking anatomical medical dummy just like turns the fucking corner and is just running light speed.
This is my favorite spirit that we've experienced in the show. 1,000,000%. He's just running and screaming.
Yes.
It's the best. It's so dumb. It's so wonderful. As we come to find out, he's running full speed. Okaroon's like, oh shit, I'm terrified. This is horrifying. And then almost runs over Momo and Gigi. Gigi grabs onto Momo and is like trying to save her. And she's like, what are you doing? I was fine, kind of thing. Jumps over them, and you get the golden shining ball. You see the, oh wow, oh, this is the time. This is the ball. And then they're like, oh shit, the golden nut. And then Gigi with the, dude, are kids making like dirty jokes now? Is this like the normal thing? Like, from here on, him saying that every time they talk about the nut. I love the show so much for its dumb humor.
Yes. So yeah, medical dummy guy just literally just get out of my way, bitch, and just pushes Okaroon down.
Yeah.
And then puts him in a locker and then gives him a swirly, probably. But then Momo grabs onto the dummy as it's running with her spirit hand. And the dummy's like, what the fuck? He's like, I gotta get out of here. And then he runs even faster and starts dragging Momo and Gigi as it's running. And Okaroon is now running after them. So the dummy runs out of school, like out of the school property. And Okaroon gets serious and wants Gigi to stop holding on to Momo and transforms into Turbo Granny and runs after them.
Yeah.
Okaroon and Momo tag team to try and catch the medical dummy. Gigi is hitting Okaroon because he thinks that Okaroon is a monster. But they catch him and they all work together. And then the dummy breaks apart. But the dummy did that on purpose to escape Momo's grasp, and it puts itself back together and keeps running, and they lose.
Yeah. I just continue. This episode's so good. So good. So fucking stupid good.
Yeah, it literally just took a left turn into the weeds. Like mid-episode, we have this entire scene of this ridiculous thing happening.
Yeah.
But Momo has some sort of grasp on him.
She has his heart.
Yeah, we didn't know it was the heart until later.
Right.
But, but Momo still has a grasp on him. And she is poking the thing that she has the grasp on. And as she pokes it, they could hear the dummy just like yelling every time she pokes it. They just follow the screams of the medical dummy. And the screams lead to like a blocked off construction area, garbage mound. They find the dummy laying on the ground in the construction area. Momo grabbed his fake dummy heart when he broke apart and said she would give it back to him if he shows them his golden ball. Just then, a female voice was calling out to Taro, which was the dummy, and he called back to Hana. They started to dig into the garbage to find her. And they have a moment, and he says that everything changed This is Taro talking to Hana. Everything changed after he met her. Okarun realizes that's how he feels about Momo. His whole world was gray. But after he met her, it was filled with color. Hana says their manufacture dates are too far apart and they could never be together. And they live in two different worlds. And if he doesn't go back, he'll be thrown out just like her.
These scenes of them on the trash heap
is the literal best. I loved this last 5 minutes of the episode.
Insane. I am watching a fucking medical mannequin running naked, full sprint, and then he gets to a limbless female medical mannequin that has wraps on her head. And they have the saddest conversation, like she's leaving on a plane or something. You know what I mean?
Taro says that he doesn't care. She's the one he fell in love with. He won't let go of her no matter what. And he wants to run away. And if he doesn't do anything right here, right now, he'll regret it for the rest of his life.
Yes.
Okarun then stands up straight after hearing all of this.
He's got the gumption.
Yes, and it makes it appear that Okarun is, got the courage to finally say something to Momo.
Yeah, he watched somebody else do it, and he's like, wait a second, you could do that? That's allowed? That's legal? Yeah. All right, I'm going to do that too.
But that's how episode 11 ends. I actually wonder what their manufacturer dates are. It was never clarified. Like, how far out of date is Taro versus her? Or vice versa. So, episode 12. All three kids are back at Seiko's place with the anatomy dummy. They ask Seiko to let the dummy stay in the house.
Let Hana stay in the house. You got to. I mean, after all we've gone through, she has to.
Seiko was like, what the fuck? What actually happened to the other dummy?
Also, the hat and the shirt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's got to be modest. She didn't have anything.
Dude, it's so good. I love this show so much.
I think it just shows something about Momo. Because I don't think Okarun dressed it up. But back in episode 10, I think, with the mantis shrimp, Momo made the curry for him and took care of him. And then same here. She didn't have to make the mantis shrimp curry. She didn't have to dress up the dummy. But she basically went that extra caring mile to make sure that even though they don't know what the fuck is going on, whoever these spirits or shrimps are, they're at least slightly comfortable.
It's great.
They said that he had to go back to school and continue being an anatomical model.
Yeah.
But as long as Hana is okay, he will continue to do his job. They said that the golden ball that was on Taro was just a Christmas ornament, so it wasn't actually the ball. Yeah. The ball is still missing.
Yep.
They're all going to eat, and Momo asks Okarun to stay, and Momo pulls out the table that they got to set up so they can all eat, and then Gigi says that Momo has cool powers, and he sees why Seiko trusts her with the exorcism.
Okay. By the way, in this picture, literally, Turbo Granny the cat is Tatsumaki kicking the shit out of Gigi. And they're talking about, like, attraction. I love this show for its stupidity.
Yeah. Gigi also said that Okarun's transformation was sick as fuck.
Yeah.
His words, not mine. And he said he wished that he had powers too. Momo tells them to get out so she can set up the table, but Gigi helps and is doing silly things to make Momo laugh while they're setting up the table. And then he pulled some lint off Momo's hair, and Okarun is jealous.
Hold up. So is this a thing in Japan that's like, oh, you've got the spider on your shoulder and you put your arm around the person at the movies or something? Like, you've got lint in your hair, so I'm going to touch your head. Like, I have an excuse.
I mean, I don't think that's isolated to Japan. I think people do that.
Well, yeah. No, I'm just saying lint in your hair is not a thing I've ever heard somebody say to, like, touch somebody's head. I've seen people be like, oh, you've got some like dandruff, not dandruff. I don't fucking. You've got salt on your shirt, and then they try and touch a boob.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. It's like, oh, you got sauce on your lips.
Let me, like the thumb thing where you, and then they
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's But Seiko's house is old, so I don't know if maybe some lint was floating around the house because the ventilation isn't good, you know. So it makes sense. But then Okarun gets jealous, and he remembers Taro's speech to Hana. And then he does the lint pull thing also and makes it awkward as fuck for everyone in the room, including the viewers.
And then starts singing a song. This is what makes me love Gigi the most, is that he's singing the song and Gigi's like, oh, I know that song, and starts singing it too.
Yeah.
And then Okarun's like, wait, fuck, dude, like, are we dance battling now?
We're
and then,
having a moment, yeah.
It's so good. I think they're going to be the best friends ever.
In my note, it says Okarun goes full socially awkward and just starts singing some song while dancing around Gigi, and then Gigi starts singing the same song, and then they both start dancing around Momo. So it somehow like shifted focus from Gigi to now they're both just dancing around Momo, and she didn't do anything. Seiko tells him to fucking stop, and that Momo is going to stay at Gigi's place this weekend. So she has to pack her underwear.
Yeah, specifically,
yes. And then Okarun asks why she's going to his place, and she tells him about the exorcism thing. And then Okarun asks if she's going all alone, and then Momo was like, well, no, I was going to ask you if you wanted to go, since she doesn't feel comfortable doing it by herself. And Okarun is excited to get the job done so Gigi can go home for good. Then it cuts to the school at night, specifically 12:23 a.m. And there's 2 dudes and 2 girls that are in the school by themselves at night. And they're like, hey, let's go play with this Ouija board.
I have to ask you.
Yes.
If this situation were to happen to you, what would your reaction be?
I mean, I would probably be scared, but then after this anatomical dummy just jumps out the window and runs away, I'd probably
Yeah.
And yeah, I like how they do the whole Ouija board thing. Did you ever play with one when you were younger?
Yeah, they're stupid.
Did you do like light as a feather, stiff as a board?
Yeah,
like,
we did that.
That sort of stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So goofy.
For all kids that are 25 and under watching or listening to this episode, just so you guys know, we didn't have cell phones back then. YouTube didn't exist. The internet took forever to get onto. If somebody had a phone call, it disconnected you from the internet. These are the things that you did to entertain yourself. You're like, dude, let's talk to ghosts and like see what spirits are in the house. And you play with a Ouija board. And then like, dude, you know, like if we say light as a feather, stiff as a board, and we all use like one finger, we can lift up this person all at the same time together, and they'll be like 10 pounds. It's like a thing. And it's physics, like the weight distribution, and it's so fucking
and there's
stupid.
Usually always 2 people in on it. So it's normally it's something you do with like girls are around. So now the girls are all scared because they're like light as a feather, stiff as a board. But then all the guys are just like lifting with full strength and just being like, oh shit, 10 pounds. Holy fuck. There's ghosts and the girls are like, hold me. I'm so scared. And then they're like, is that sauce on your lips? And then they do the thing where they put the thumb over and get the sauce. Yeah.
Craig was doing different shit than I was. Apparently I just hung out with nerds. And we were like, you want to play Smash Bros, dude?
Yeah, all the young kids are like, Ouija board? Is that on the iOS Apple App Store? Like, where do I get that?
It probably is, too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you could always go back. If you want, like, a time capsule of insanity, watch the movie The Craft. That movie is basically what we're talking about as a sleepover.
Yeah.
Anyways, Taro running full speed towards Hannah. This next scene, Greg, it's like you're getting back to the endearing. You're like, oh, Taro's gonna be like having so much fun. Everything's so good. And you get to this part where you get to the bus.
Well, before the bus,
go ahead.
Taro is just like running. So the boys are trying to scare the girls. They say they hear something and they're like, nah, that's not anything. And then literally Taro runs out full speed.
Get out of my way.
Yeah, just blasts through the fucking window. And then he's running towards Hana. Then it has a cut where he's literally just on the train like a normal person holding like the ring. And then he continues to run towards Hana after he gets off at a station. As he's running through the street, he gets hit by a truck and blasts apart. And it kind of has like the somber music, like, oh no, what's going to happen? But in
I
the
thought
heart
he
of
was
hearts,
dead.
Oh, I didn't
I
think he
thought
was dead. In my heart of hearts, he fucking blasted apart, then put himself together. So
Yeah,
I
but-
knew it's like, okay, he got hit by a truck, but he doesn't give a shit.
Here's the thing. Yes, he did blast himself apart, but he was still technically together, because it's like you could blow your arm off as a mannequin, but you could just reattach it. He is broken into pieces here. I was like, oh, he's not going to be able to make it. Either he has to take all the time to put himself together, or more cars are going to be coming. It's not just one car on the street. He could get run over several times and be completely obliterated. I was like, oh shit, worried. Like,
I wasn't scared he was dead. I was just like, damn. This is kind of like, you know, when you get the call from your lady and she's like, oh, be sure to come home so I'm not worried before I fall asleep. And you're like, don't worry, Toots, I got this. But then you get pulled over by a cop, and then you know, get stopped by a train, and now you have to wait on the train tracks, and then you run out of gas, so you have to get out and, you know, run to the gas station to get a gas can and then fill back up. You know, basically it seems like all the forces are against you, where they don't want you to make it.
yeah,
But I did not fear that Taro was not going to make it.
Toots.
But
Nice.
Momo is waiting with Hana outside of Seiko's. It's 4 a.m. So that kind of puts it into perspective. When Taro left, it was like 12:30, basically. So now it's 4 a.m. So they've been waiting for like 3.5 hours for Taro. Momo wraps a scarf around Hana and says that she will wait with her. And she says that she is sure that Taro will show up.
This is why I was like sure he was dead. He's 100% dead.
No, I knew he was coming. I knew it. I had my faith in Taro. And I was rewarded. It's the morning, and Momo has just been sleeping on the ground. It does show that Taro is there. He's covered in branches. Like, he seems like he fucking put himself together. He has like a
Garbage
fucking like garbage, like a shirt wrapped around his waist or some shit. So he's just been through hell and back.
Yeah.
And he tells Hana that a lot of stuff happened, but he will come every day on time from now on. Momo was like, fuck, every day? Like, I thought this was a one-time thing. Holy shit. I gotta wait outside until 4 a.m. for you to come. But yeah, I think it's nice because it shows that love has no bounds. And if you're determined to do something, nothing is ever going to stop you. And if you
No,
want to meet
that's
that
not
person-
true. That's not true. If you got hit by a bus, Greg, that is a very different situation.
No, I'm crawling, one hand on the pavement, grasping at rocks. I'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyways.
cuts to Gigi in his room with a sign that says keep out. And he can't sleep again because of the spirit that follows him around.
There's a few scenes where we get a glimpse of what's going on with Gigi and this demon that's following him around. In this episode, we get this purple hue over the scene whenever Gigi's demon is involved. And it's different than what we experience with other things that are happening in this episode. We see the first glimpse of like Gigi's demon standing in front of Gigi and his upside down, like, I can't sleep, I'm losing my mind. And like this part with the face being distorted, the eyes coming on the other side of the mouth, and then it's standing next to him. Very, very strange. Very creepy.
Yeah, it is cool that you get those glimpses of Gigi where 90% of the time he's acting like a straight up goofball.
Yeah.
But then when there is like a serious time, like, you know that it's serious time because Gigi is never like that. So when he is sitting staring at the floor waiting for this dude to leave so he can try and get some sleep, it has that impact, that storytelling impact pretty much, that you can actually like tangibly feel the nervousness that Gigi as a fictional character is feeling. Yeah. So that's why, I mean, Dan to Dan has really great storytelling because you're feeling what the character is feeling.
Also, I noticed in the intro, because I watch the intro every single time, I'm worried that this first intro is going to be the best thing. Like, there's no one that's going to be able to beat Creepy Nuts for Dan to Dan's intro. Dan to Dan's intro is already like a 10. Just use it for the rest of the time that the show exists to change the animation, because the song is insanely good. There is an actual scene where in the intro that Ira is in gold and Gigi is in blue, and in between is Turbo Granny. they're actually now in the intro. Normally, you would have the pictures of Ira where she's doing the thing with her eye and sticking her tongue out, and then you have Gigi making the face that I had behind me. The only time they reference them again is when they're all getting pulled upward, getting beamed up into the alien spaceship with the cow. I noticed these things and I thought it was great.
I think that's cool that the intro is dynamically changing as the episodes go forward.
And it did that for Demon Lord too.
I think that's a cool touch that they do that, because maybe I should start watching the intros more, and it might give me a reason to watch intros if I know those little details are dynamically changing and there's actually a reason to watch it.
Yeah.
But Momo, Gigi, and Okarun are on a train now going to Gigi's place. And they are playing Old Maid, and Okarun is losing to Momo.
He's getting fucking scrubbed out, dude.
I have never played Old Maid in my life. Is it like Go Fish or what?
Basically.
Okay.
He's getting beasted on though, because he couldn't.
He doesn't have a poker face. Yeah.
No, he ain't got no poker face.
Yeah. Okarun is being a sore loser. Gigi said he'll give him some candy, and he just has a duffel bag full of fucking candy. Gigi and Momo talk about how the candy shop lady is still there and is old as shit. So they are having their own little, childhood friend conversation, leaving Okarun out of it. Okarun still is jealous and being self-conscious, and thinks to himself that he's fed up with all of his shortcomings. He can't overcome the jealous feeling, so instead he focuses on trying to get his nut back, and is just thinking about his nut for the rest of the train ride, and he's just sitting there thinking about his nut.
Yeah.
Momo interrupts his train of thought and yells, "Nuts!" And then Gigi is like, "What is going on with you guys and fucking nuts?" And then Gigi continues to make her laugh, and Okarun is getting fed up. So he decides to start talking about UFOs.
Yeah.
And the Tsuchinoko. I've heard of this term before. And apparently the Tsuchinoko is a Japanese folklore snake thing. So I guess think of it as Bigfoot in the American equivalent, where it's just a fake monster that people started to talk about, and it's just become some
Chupacabra.
Or Chupacabra, yeah. But Gigi is able to turn it around and say there's a snake shrine in his town. Momo gets excited and wants to go see it. Okarun has to get the initiative back, so he brings up kappas. And then Gigi gets into it and talks about Nessie. And then they start nerding out about occult stuff. And Okarun thinks that he hasn't talked to anyone this much since he talked to Momo. And it's a lot of fun. And Gigi wants to be friends with Okarun.
Well, Gigi's like, "Oh man, it's so cool having a friend like you." And he's like, "We're friends?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, don't you want to be my friend?" And he's like, "I guess. I didn't know you looked at me like your friend." It's obvious that Okarun is in competition with him in Okarun's own mind. Gigi's like, "Dude, I'm just fucking vibing, having a good time all the time." So I like their interactions.
I do too. And Okarun does as well, because Okarun thinks, why isn't Gigi like a piece of shit? And why is he such a good guy? And then he thinks about himself. And I have in my notes here, I assume he's thinking that if Gigi isn't a giant piece of shit, then why doesn't Momo date him? I think that's kind of Okarun's train of thought, that, he's not like a womanizer. He's not treating Momo like shit. So if he's such a good guy, he's so athletic, like he has all of these good things, and what's stopping Momo from dating?
Right.
They get to Gigi's town, and they are in the Onsen district. And Gigi says it's close to his dad's work, and his dad is researching volcanoes at a nearby college. Momo asks if it's safe, and Gigi said that the volcano erupted 200 years ago, but they should be good now. So no worries about it erupting.
It's super.
They pass a bunch of stores, and there's people with big heads, and they look really weird, and they are always smiling.
Okarun noticed one when they were walking by this first store with the guns.
Yeah.
Guns are illegal in Japan, so this was also...
Because they do have a marksmanship team and stuff like at
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
You have to jump through, if you want a gun, they're not like completely illegal. You have to jump through a ton of hoops to be able to own one, but it's not illegal to own a gun. It's not like America where I could literally go to Walmart and just buy a gun. California is a different story. But long rifles, and that is considered anything that's like hunting, shotguns, or any sort of hunting rifle. You don't need any license to own. You basically just have your background check, you get it, then you're just, hey, yo, let me just go hunt some things and shoot them. They have open carry laws here as well. If you literally just strapped a big iron to your hip and wanted to walk around, you are completely within your legal rights. Are people going to freak out? Probably, if some dude is just like walking around with a big iron on his hip. But legally, that's something you can do. Anyway, gun shop in Japan, big head, weird looking smile guys. And Gigi apparently lives like on top of the fucking mountain. So they have to climb like a billion stairs. And Gigi is just like my favorite part. And it's just literally spreading up these billions of stairs. And Momo and Okarun are just like, fuck. So they're lagging behind.
Dying.
So, yeah.
Getting up the stairs.
They get to Gigi's house and he asks Momo if there's a weird aura or if anything is crazy. And Momo is just like, no, everything seems completely fine. And then Okarun sees something out in the forest. But Momo tells him to come inside. And he's like, well, my lady tells me to come inside, and that's what I do. He goes inside. Then it shows all the weird townspeople kind of like gathering. Super strange. They walk through the house, but there's nothing. And Momo said that the ghost could have hid. And she said it's the same as Turbo Granny, where if they hide their spirit power and it's weak, it's really hard for her to notice them. So now Momo is chilling out on the couch, and Gigi just gives her the old shoulder rub as old friends, childhood friends do to one another.
All the time.
And she said she wants a sweet juice. So he goes and gets her some sweet juice. And then as Gigi is going to get that sweet, sweet juice, she tells Okarun to sit next to her.
Yeah. Pop a squat, dude.
She says the spirits probably won't come out until nighttime. So they should rest. Then she said she wants to go to an onsen.
Yeah, she is like the most indecisive person, by the way.
Well, no, she has a loose plan in her head. She's like, you know what, nighttime ghosts, I got some time to kill. I'm going to go to the fucking onsen.
She's like, yeah, why don't you sit right here? And then as soon as he sits down, she stands up and she's like, I'm going to the onsen. Like, actually, I know I invited you to sit next to me. We could chat, but this sucks. I'm going to the onsen. See you later.
So I do have some theories about this. First, Momo leaves and tells Okarun to hang out with Gigi, and she'll be back in the evening. Gigi comes out with the juice, but Momo's already gone, and he said he wanted to go with her to the onsen, and then asks Okarun if he wants to play soccer. So, in my notes, I put that I think Momo left on purpose. One, to draw out the spirits from hiding. So I think that she thinks that since she's there, the spirits are avoiding the area. So I think that she left so the spirits will come in the evening, and they may not come if she was there. And the second note I have is I think she wants Okarun and Gigi to become friends, so she leaves so they can hang out together and do guy stuff.
I think that they're two separate things happening. I think that the spirit is haunting Gigi, and I think that the aliens are here at the house. I think that the people, the town's people are aliens. That's my theory.
I agree 100%. We'll talk about it here in a little bit.
Yeah.
But Okarun doesn't know anything about soccer. But Gigi is like, hey, yo, I teach you how to play soccer, boy. And Gigi's helping him out, and Okarun thinks that he's a really good teacher. And he thinks he's glad Momo isn't here. So she doesn't see him struggle fucking kicking a soccer ball.
Being embarrassed as fuck.
Yeah. But he also thinks if he gets good, he can show Momo what he learned, and she'll think that's pretty cool.
Maybe he can be on Blue Lock.
Yeah. Maybe not season 2, though. Okarun goes to kick the ball to Gigi, and as he does that, Gigi asks if Okarun likes Momo.
It was instant, too.
Yeah.
They're talking about soccer for a second, and he's like, hey, are you in love with Momo? And he's like, whoa.
I like this, because I feel like this is how guys handle shit. You're just like, you know what, like, fucking, let's do something, like, kick a ball around, throw the old pigskin, and then just, like, talk about what's on your mind. Just no frills, just like, hey, yo, do you like Momo?
Yeah.
And I feel like that happened in school, too. You would be hanging out with your friends, doing whatever, like playing fighting games, Soul Calibur 2, just playing. And then just out of nowhere, one of the dudes would just be like, hey, do you like this girl? And then you would just transition into this conversation about girls at that time.
No, I don't remember that happening. But maybe I was awkward. So.
So I could have sworn you were there. Yeah, you were playing Killick, I think, and you were just like,
I played
pogo
Siegfried, you fucking asshole.
Nope,
Don't you
only
ever.
Killick, and then you would do the moves where like you hit the guy in the nuts, and that's all you would do. And I'm like, I can't defend against that. Stop hitting me in the nuts. Oh no. Anyway, Momo is in the hot spring and thinks that Gigi is Okarune's first guy friend. So she's just getting in the way.
Yeah.
As she's relaxing, the weird townspeople are starting to get weird.
Very weird.
Cuts back to Okarune, and Okarune says he respects Momo, and she is a dear friend. And then Gigi says that he likes Momo's face and personality. And then Okarune says he likes those things too. And then they just keep adding on things that they like about Momo to see who likes Momo more while they're fighting for the soccer ball.
Yeah.
Gigi says he's Momo's childhood friend, so he wins. And then Okarune remembers their teeth-clacking kiss.
Yeah.
And then he is like, you know what, Gigi?
I got something on you,
I
little
think
bitch.
I win.
I'm W ski over here,
Yeah,
dude.
and he's embarrassed and doesn't say anything to Gigi.
Yeah.
But then cuts back to Momo. She's in the onsen, and she's getting dizzy. So she starts to get out, but then 4 grown men walk into the onsen and say, someone's already in there, and she is a hottie.
Dude, this whole, like, okay, I didn't know about this gator thing. Call them gators. Yeah, it sounds legit as fuck. But it makes sense in English as well. I sat there and I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, this is super creepy. And them having a name for it, obviously, in reference to alligators.
Okarune and Gigi keep fighting, but Okarune stops. And he points out that the house has an extra room.
Yeah.
And that they didn't see as they were touring the house in the beginning of the episode. It then cuts back to Momo. And apparently, the onsen is a co-ed bath. And there's a rusty-ass sign that says it's a co-ed bath. And Momo was like, how do you fucking expect me to read that shit?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of the men creepily get into the onsen. Not like, normally get into the onsen. They had to make it super weird.
Yeah, they just like get on the water and they're like creeping towards her with just like their eyes above the water.
Super creepy. Okarune and Gigi investigate the room that they saw outside, and they are knocking on the walls, and they're like, this wall is hollow. There's a room on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it on the outside, but there is no door to get to it on the inside. Gigi said he's going to break it down. And Okarune asks if that's okay. And Gigi is like, nope, probably not. This is a rental property. But there has to be a reason why his parents ended up in the hospital. Cuts back to Momo. The guys at the onsen ask Momo if she knows about them gators. And she's like, the lizards? And they're like, nah, gators. Gators are guys that target naked women in co-ed onsens, and then they just start floating towards her as creepy gator old men do to do creepy things.
Mm-hmm.
And then in my notes here, I was like, they're aliens, right? Like 100% they're aliens.
Yeah, they're aliens. 100%.
And I said that they have to be, especially if the one, well, I put here, like, they have to be aliens because the one that follows Gigi was in Seiko's house, right? He was staying at Seiko's house. He was in his room that said keep out. But Seiko has all those talismans and shit everywhere, right? So the thing that's following Gigi has to be an alien. Because if it entered Seiko's house, it would have like exploded.
Well,
right?
okay. Here's my theory. When they break the wall right here, they actually release the spirit that's haunting the house because all the talismans holding and keeping it in there in the wall, right?
Yes.
And Gigi has just been visualizing this thing all the time because it's in his mind constantly from living in this house. And he thinks because he's lost so much sleep that he's like visualizing this thing.
Okay.
We watched the trailer, and like in a minute, I'll show you another picture of why I think it's still a demon. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So or the spirit is so powerful that it's basically projecting the image to Gigi and not
Yeah.
actually being physically next to him.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Gigi hits the wall with the sledgehammer. Side the hole in filled with talismans. Like you have the layer of drywall, and then you have a layer of like 50 talismans deep, and then inside the room
there's another
all talismans.
Well, like you have the layer of the drywall, and then there's talismans, and then there's a wood layer, and then there's talismans on the other side of that, and then there's another. Just like you go into the room, and it's just like literally hundreds of thousands.
So yeah, whatever spirit is in there has to be strong as fuck, because if you look at like the beginning of Dandadan, and Okaroon just like got hit by one talisman, and he was just like, I'm on fire.
Yeah.
So imagine like how many talismans is needed to like hold whatever the fuck is in this room.
Yeah.
Like how strong.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking sick. Because this also reminds me of Jujutsu Kaisen when they're sitting in the room trying to suppress Sukuna, and Yuji and Gojo are talking. This scene is how this season ends, and we have to wait till July.
Yeah. Well, it actually technically ends with Momo getting jumped by the gators.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So Momo's like in danger. So she's under the water. The gators jump her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Gigi and Okarin realize that that room is probably housing some strong ass spirit, and then that's how the finale ends for Dandadan.
Crazy shit. Yes. So they have shown the trailer for Dandadan season 2. You'll have to look at the 3 screenshots I took. The first one is, I think it's Turbo Granny saying that house has soaked up too much human blood. And then they said the avatar of hatred. But before that, they said the aliens are coming. But the avatar of hatred is crazy look, because it zooms in and then you see like its face. Okay, very, very key thing I can show you here. Gigi has a part in his hair at the top. It's like a bowl cut, but then there's one piece that just hangs up, like sticking up over his head. Like his hair parts in the center.
Yeah. Yep.
So this avatar of hatred has that same part in the hair with the eye in the center, like the monster with the purple and stuff like that. Also, these fucking crazy earrings that go all the way down. This thing looks insanely cool.
I am interested to see how Gigi's personality does change, because, you know, when Okaroon takes over Turbo Granny, when Turbo Granny takes over Okaroon, he gets all emo depressed.
Yeah.
So how will Gigi's personality change when...
I think he's going to go insane. I think he's going to be super serious and want to kill people or whatever is around him until he can control some sort of power. We have now Turbo Granny, Acrobatic Silky, Momo, and now we're going to have the 4th member of the party. Because you always got a set of 4 is a good number for parties when it comes to main characters. Anyways, and I think Gigi's going to get like just buff as shit and just beat ass. Because like Acrobatic Silky's very agile, Turbo Granny's fast, right? Agile as well to a certain extent, but mostly fast. Momo is like strong, but I think that Gigi's going to be like incredibly strong, like lift houses and beat people up.
Beat people with houses.
Yeah, with the house that he beats up.
Yeah. He beats up the house and then
he beats the people up with the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm excited. Season 2.
Dude, I'm so fucking stoked. Season 1 has been an absolute journey. Greg, give me your number. Not your phone number. I already have that. I mean, give me your rating of the show.
Before that, yeah. I mean, season 2 is coming out. I think they announced like July 2025. So we don't have to wait too long for it. So it was exciting that it should be here pretty soon. But
6 months from now, we're in there.
Ratings. We are on to the rating portion. My number for Dandadan. Drum roll, please. You're not drumming.
Oh, hold on. Can you hear that?
Yes. I'll just... Oh, yeah. Okay. Drum roll. It's a 9. 9 across the board.
Okay. That took a lot of effort. That took a lot of effort.
I appreciate it.
Continue your reasoning.
Animation 9. Development 9. Story 9. Personal feelings 9. Just 9s. Straight. Big solid 9.
Okay. Greg, what show have you watched that is a 10? I gave Dan to Dan a 10. I think that if this show continues the way that it's going, it could potentially become my favorite anime of all time. I love Cowboy Bebop. It has been my favorite anime for 20 years. I'll watch certain episodes of it. There's so much a good feeling of nostalgia. I understand its faults though. As I grew older, I understand where there should have been some pacing differences in my personal opinion, but it is its own masterpiece. I think this new show and a new era of anime could potentially become that next thing because it has every element of things that I enjoy about a good story. So far, it's got a good love story. Cowboy Bebop had that, right? It's got very sad moments where it's very real and emotional. Dan to Dan has that. Cowboy Bebop has that. The animation is cool, gets to the fight scenes, it's rad, and you're like, oh, this is fun. Both of them have that. And like the humor and the lightheartedness of Dan to Dan is more my style of humor and lightheartedness than Cowboy Bebop was. Like it was funny. It had certain moments, but it was more back then, more adult themed to a certain extent. Dan to Dan's very like almost childlike wonder and still has adult themes in certain situations and certain characters. I think Dan to Dan is just like season 1 is just like what we watch anime for. Legit. I'm so shocked that this show, I didn't know about it sooner, and I'm such a huge fan of it. This would be anyone that watches anything, I would recommend this show to them. Slice of life, doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you have to also look like a 9, like me giving it a 9 is like, on one hand, I can count how many 9s I gave out. On that same hand, I can add the 10 and still have spaces left. Mm-hmm. So being a 9 is like, in my opinion, it's Dan to Dan's great. I mean, we've said it the entire time we've been talking about the series. Like all of the little details, the attention to detail, everything that they are making, and the episode compositions, all of the goofy shit. Like it's great. It's funny. It checks a lot of the boxes, but I don't know. It's weird. There's just like something like in my heart of hearts that I can't quite pinpoint yet. When I do, whatever. I'll let everyone know.
Yeah. Whatever. Fucking lame.
That it's just like it's pulling it back just a little bit from the 10.
Okay. My 9s are Demon Slayer Mugen Train, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1, and Season 2, not Jujutsu Kaisen 0. I think Jujutsu Kaisen 0 was an 8 for me, which is the movie. Maybe even a 7, personally. I love Yuta as a character, but whatever. And Samurai Champloo. That was it. I even gave Soul Leveling a 7. And I read the manhwa all the way through in like 2 days.
Yeah, my 9s are Jinro, Wolfbridge.
Ooh, Jinro, yeah, that's
Frieren.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, Elfenlied is a 9 as well. I do like Elfenlied a lot.
I see that.
Probably rewatch.
You know what's funny? I didn't even put Chainsaw Man in a 9. I put it at an 8.
No, Chainsaw Man's not a 9. So like, and that's the thing. Like, I think these, mainstream blockbuster animes that really like take off running, like they're good, but at a certain point, I feel like, they're hitting a demographic or a metric that is specifically based not off of the creator's intent of the show. I feel like once the animes get to a certain like popularity level, I mean, take Bleach, for example.
Yeah.
I think it starts to change from, being the project and being the investing emotionally and physically into these projects. It makes a departure from that. And I think that's why some of these kind of end into the lower, right? Quote unquote, lower ratings, like Chainsaw Man, like Solo Leveling and stuff. I don't know. They're good, right? Obviously, like if you look at like a 7 or an 8, right? That's like above average. That's exceptional. Like once you hit the 9-10 rating for me, like that's almost hitting perfection level of what a story in an anime like actually is. I could see myself giving Dan to Dan a 10. I will say that. Like probably if I sat down and really looked through my notes again and recalculated. But as I was scoring it right after I watched like the finale, I just felt there was just like a little tug back from giving it that good old 10. But I do want to say that Dan and Dan's amazing. I would recommend it to any watcher of any genre of any anime. I want to hesitate to recommend it to like brand new non-anime watchers, but I could see myself still bringing it up as a talking point and a potential thing I could recommend.
Dude, I think even if you don't watch anime, I think this would be a really fun one for you to watch. Just because you get all the aspects of it in the first episode. You get the absurdity, the seriousness, and the humor. It's, you know, and then you go from there. And then you get like episode 2 and 3, you have some serious talking points with like them talking about Turbo Granny's, what her goals are and what she does.
I guess I would have liked to see, because it's weird, like maybe season 1 is like a 9, season 2 is like a 9, but then if I were to be like, okay, overall Dan to Dan as a whole could possibly be a 10, because I would like to see some other I guess story elements developed a little more that I feel like they didn't flesh out as much, and like understandably so. Like obviously there's going to be season 2 and there's going to be more to it. But if I had to look at just season 1 straight up, I think that's why I gave it a 9, not a 10. But after Dan to Dan is finished as a whole, can I be like, would I say Dan to Dan is a straight up 10?
Okay.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I feel the I'm super hyped up about Dan to Dan all the time. I think it's the best.
It's great.
Yes, Greg. 100% agree.
I don't normally wrap up, but thanks everybody for tuning in to the Anime Book Club podcast. You can find us on the Instagrams and any podcast platform that you listen to podcasts. You can find us there. And if we're not on the one you listen to, let us know and I will make sure we're there. But a lot of the ones I checked were there. So check us out. And was that enough time?
Yeah.
To let you think? Okay, moral of the story.
Don't ever be ashamed of who you are on the inside. It's very difficult going through life worried about what everybody else thinks of you, because as we now have social media and all that fun stuff, you see everybody else's highlight reel while you're just living your life 1/4 mile at a time, like Dom says. And so it's very difficult to not compare yourself to others, but don't be ashamed. You know, Okarun's a cool guy. And then, you know, you're probably cool too, liking the nerdy shit that you like. Because everybody likes something that's really fucking stupid and nerdy, and we can all enjoy it together. And like, that's what makes us unique human beings. Like Greg likes harem anime. I don't make fun of him for it a lot. I mean, too much, I think. I make fun of him for it enough. Like right now. You know what I mean?
I've defended myself fully on harem anime, so I have no issues. Yeah.
Yeah. True. Yeah. Enjoy the things that you enjoy. Never let anybody tell you can't listen to Fall Out Boy in high school, young JC, because Fall Out Boy kind of fucking rules, dude.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks guys for listening. We will catch you
on the flippy floppy.
Yes, the frippy froppy.
Thank you, friends, for checking out the Anime Book Club podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
And if you don't want to miss the next one, follow us on the socials where we announce new episodes, content, and other cool stuff. You can also check out our anime list with our rankings and follow along with what we're currently watching and what we have watched in the past.
All the links are in the description. See you in the next one. Bye!